It's my pleasure to introduce and welcome Hari Vasuden, Country Head and SVP-Technology, Walmart Global Tech India. And this chat will be moderated by Biswajit Das, Director Advisory, KPMG in India. Biswajit, over to you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be an interesting 15 minutes I have with me. For most of you who do attend all of these, log on to this, I'll be a familiar face, so I'm not going to spend any time introducing myself, right? But you can look me up on LinkedIn if you want. We're going to have an interesting conversation because we have Hari with us. And, Hari and I have some similarities in who we are and some differences, right? As you know, I'm not a technology person, but I sort of accidentally ventured into the world of data and analytics. Hari, on the other side, is a technology lifer, right? He's been in technology throughout his entire career. The similarity is that I started my career as a bartender, and generally at the end of a hard day's work, that's where you find Hari ending up. So we have that similarity in mind. However, having spoken to Hari at length and known him, I think what really strikes you is that simplicity is the grounding principle of a lot of things that he does, he says, and how he sort of lives his life, right? And one of the most important, I think, transformations, evolutions that we have seen in technology is we are no longer trying to create complex systems. That used to be the thing in the past, right? How complex a system can I create? Now we're saying, how simple can I make a complex problem solution? Right? And I think that's where Hari really is. It reflects in the work that he does and how he sort of articulates his thoughts. I think simplicity is at the base of it. And I keep saying this every time, right? The technology has only one utility. It is either, for an organization, it is either to make money or to save money. Right, and save money for their customers is one of the ethos of Walmart. Hari, and I think the intersection of technology's ability to do that and Walmart's spoken almost like a mission to be able to do that for you. I think it's a good intersect, right? Hari, what do you think?
No, I think, first of all, thanks for the great intro, Vishwa. Really appreciate it. And really happy to be here. And I'm sure, we're going to have fun 15 minutes talking about technology and solving problems for customers. As you point out, at Walmart, our mission is to save people money. But more importantly, the second part of the mission is really what seals it for me personally and for all of the associates at Walmart, right? Which is really about saving people money so that they can live better. So the idea is that if you're able to save people money, and now it's also about saving time and providing convenience, then people can truly live better lives, right? And more, as you pointed out, is how do you bring technology to bear to essentially deliver those experiences so that people can lead better lives and so that we as a company can become more efficient and then pass on those efficiencies to our customers and so that we can save our customers money so that they can in turn live better. Right. So I think that mission captures it very well. The other thing that he pointed out, right, about the people centricity of it. We are very much a people-led company, but we are also a tech-enabled or tech-empowered company. So the idea is that we want our associates to be more empowered through technology. We want our customers to be more empowered through technology, so that they are able to go over their lives, do the things that they want with ease and seamlessly without having to worry about how the technology works. We want to make those things simple for them. And, we want to do that through technology. So really the focus more and more is how do you essentially deliver those delightful experiences for our customers, and how do you use technology effectively to do that? How do you innovate with speed at the scale of Walmart? And if you think about the scale at which Walmart operates, it's humongous, right? We have over 270 million touch points with customers every week. We have 11,000 stores across the globe. We have businesses in many, many countries across the globe. And then to be able to actually use technology effectively to deliver those seamless experiences to each and every customer, to each and every interaction that each and every customer has, day in and day out. That's what the juice is going at Walmart.
So the thing is that, like you said, Walmart is a behemoth, right? It's just massive, big numbers, and however, and you can just throw those millions and billions on. And you, because you're double hatting, right? You're the SVP Technology. You're also the head of the Walmart India Development Center. So what you have been able to see this at a very close range, saying how retail was any which way is going through a transformation. Right. I mean, the last few years, it has been gradually going through the transformation, and especially now. I mean, I'll get blacklisted if I'm on a webinar and don't talk about the COVID situation, right? So, and the pandemic has, honestly, retail is one of those industries where the pandemic has actually made an accelerated, effort in terms of what we are doing in digital now, right? Yeah. How do you think this is evolving?
Right. Very true, right? And just like how you said, you would be blacklisted if you didn't mention COVID. As someone who's coming from as a technologist in the retail space, I would be blacklisted if I didn't mention omni-channel, right? And we joke about it, but the reality is that, and nothing has shown that more than COVID. It is all about the omni-channel play, right? That is truly going to be the next wave of disruption in retail. So if you're a typical customer, right, you don't care when something is delivered to you. You just want it when you want it, where you want it, how you want it. For example, you may choose to have it be delivered to you at your home. And in these days of COVID, it needs to be a contactless delivery. So the person just leaves it at your front door and you get a message afterwards and you just open the door and pick it up after the delivery boy has left. But then if you don't like it, you don't want to be packaging it yourself and shipping it back and stuff, right? You want to be able to go to the closest store, just drop it off and walk out with your refund. So for Walmart, that's what really omnichannel is, right? If you look at some of the countries we operate in, whether it's in the US, in Mexico, in some of our other geographies, we have, 90+% of the households live within 10, 15 miles of a Walmart store. So we have this massive footprint, right? And then we also have a very, very strong online business that's been growing pretty significantly during COVID. The statistic that I heard about during COVID, or specifically around online growth. So if you look at e-commerce as a percentage of retail in the US, I think it went from somewhere around 5.5% to something like 16% over the course of a decade between 2009 and 2019. And then in the first 10 weeks of COVID, that number went from like 16 to 28%. Right now, I'm sure post-COVID, it'll settle down, it'll come back down a little bit. But once customers are used to the convenience of omnichannel, they're not going to go back, right? So the adoption of online is going to grow pretty significantly. And that's borne out in how much our online business has grown in this past year, right? Every quarter, we have posted growth numbers of 70%, 90%, and so on. And so that's going to continue, right? Which essentially means that you have to really use technology a lot more effectively to deliver those fully omnichannel experiences. And that's essentially what Walmart is really focused on today. It's about how do we bring the online and offline journeys together for the customer and do it in a very, very frictionless, seamless way, and do it through technology, whether that is, artificial intelligence and machine learning, whether that's the use of big data analytics, whether that's use of cloud-powered technologies. The idea is to use technology as a means to an end, right? It's not an end unto itself, but it's really about solving customer needs, but doing so in a way that customers are delighted in every transaction, in every interaction that they have with Walmart. That's really where our focus is as Walmart and as technologists inside Walmart specifically.
I think that is the most important, right? Most important in my head. It's the most important transformation that retail is going through, and various players are at various stages where how do you seamlessly merge your brick and mortar into your virtual experience, right? They cannot remain two different arms of your, it's not all, in many cases, it's like they are two independent organizations, right? But that's not how we want it, right? And also because the fact is that your brick and mortar bring a lot to the table and will continue to bring a lot to the table, right? So it's specific to data and specific to because digital is a massively large subject area, and if we just kept to data for a moment, right? I know for sure that you and Walmart have been using putting AI and ML to very, very good use. Unlike a lot of places where it is still, is still a little buzzword, you have been putting it to practical, pragmatic use, right? And I think it would be brilliant for everybody here to actually hear what you're doing with all of that.
No, I think now you're touching upon, a very favorite topic of mine. So you will have to essentially stop me because I could just go on and on about this forever. But specifically, talking about AI and ML, AI is very, very core to Walmart, right? It's at the core of all of our products. So whether you're talking about the customer domain, where we use AI extensively for search and personalization, for example, for product recommendations, there's a specific problem around smart substitution that I'll talk about in a minute. So that's just some examples of how we use AI in the customer domain. In the merchandising domain, right, with our merchants and the sellers, it's all about knowing what to sell, when to sell it, how to price it. So even some, problems such as replenishment, how to replenish inventory in the stores, how much of a particular inventory to carry at the store, how do we do accurate store item level forecasting so that we carry the right amount of items in the store so that we are not understocked, nor do we create an inventory problem for ourselves by overstocking. How do we know what to price those items at any given point in time, right? How do we even plan for space in the store? How do we do space planning? And how do we put modulars? Modulars are the shelves that we use in the stores, right? These are all problems more and more that we're applying AI and ML techniques to solve. And then if you talk about just the supply chain and how we can do network optimization, right? How do we know where to build the next warehouse, or how do we know where to build the next distribution center? How do we actually do route optimization in the last mile? How do we do, track and trace in the supply chain? So these are just some areas where AI and ML is being used very effectively, even in transportation, for example, right? How do you actually look at data that is coming in from the very large fleet of trucks that we have? And how do you predict wear and tear so that you're doing proactive maintenance on your trucks? So, what might be very simple things quickly become extremely challenging at our scale, right? And so we have started to apply AI and ML extensively across all of these domains. And the more we sort of start to do that, what we learn is that the opportunities are huge, right? Even in something as simple or mundane as the enterprise. For example, last year, in fact, some of our associates in the India Development Center did this as sort of a side project. It was a hack that then went on to be launched. A simple chatbot, right? So that our associates, like I said, we have 2 million associates across the globe. How do you let them have their HR queries about benefits or about their timesheets or about, the holidays in their geography and so on? Simple queries like that be answered through a chatbot, right? So even in the back office enterprise space, you're starting to see AI and ML make their way pervasively, right? I talked about smart substitution. Let me just give you one very specific example, right? So the online grocery business, right? The idea that customers can order groceries online and they can just drive to the store. And when they drive, we detect using GPS their presence. They're given a slot, right? So when they order, they have a default store and they're given a slot during which time they have to show up at the store. Now, when they reach the store parking lot, we detect their presence through location, and then automatically, their items have already been picked and stored in the back room. And the associate will pick those items up and walk over to their car, and they're parked in a particular slot. He walks over there, and they just essentially load the trunk and the customer is off on their way, right? So the customers have spent maybe all of 3 minutes. They don't have to walk into the store. And particularly during this COVID time, it's been a boon for customers, right? And this is a experience that has an NPS score of 85+%, right? I mean, which is sort of unheard of in the industry, right? Now, how do we do that? So what we do is when we take the orders online, and we have associates in the store who are picking the items, right? And so we do, for example, one very simple way that machine learning or AI is applied is we do something called pick path optimization, which is that if an associate has to pick many items for many customers,